Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into the latest earnings report from grocery giant Empire, the company behind Sobeys and Safeway. And this report, well, it tells a really fascinating story of strategy, sacrifice, and a massive bet on the future. So, right off the bat, the numbers seem kind of weird. The company reported really strong, healthy profit growth in its main business. But then, in the very same report, they post this staggering loss of nearly $750 million. So you're probably asking, how does that even happen? How can both be true at once? Well, this isn't a story of some big mistake. It's a story of a calculated, deliberate pivot in a really tough market. We're going to unpack exactly how this company is taking a huge short-term hit to set itself up for a much better future. Okay, before we get to that headline-grabbing loss, you have to understand one thing, and it's absolutely crucial. Empire's main business, selling groceries in their physical stores, is actually doing incredibly well. They pulled in almost $8 billion in sales in just this one quarter. I mean, that's a huge number, and it shows their foundation is solid. But to really get a feel for a retailer's health, you've got to look at another number. Yeah, this is what's really telling, that same-store sales growth. That 2% increase means people are going to the same old stores they always have, and they're buying more stuff. It's a fundamental sign of a healthy retailer. Your existing customers are happy, and they're putting more in their baskets. And you don't have to take my word for it. The CEO himself came right out and confirmed it. He basically said, hey, this isn't just one part of our business that's working, it's everything. Customers are responding well everywhere, from their fancier full-service stores all the way to their discount FreshCo locations. Okay, so if the stores are humming along so nicely, where in the world did that massive loss come from? Well, the answer is all in their e-commerce strategy and a huge pivot they just pulled off. So the loss came from something called a non-cash impairment charge of $746 million. I know, that's a total mouthful, but think of it like this. Imagine you own a fancy machine for your business that you thought was worth $1 million, but it's old, it keeps breaking down, and it's just not making you money anymore. You finally have to admit, okay, this thing is really only worth $100,000. That $900,000 difference? That's the impairment. You're taking the financial hit on paper all at once so you can move on. That's what Empire just did. But this wasn't just some boring accounting move. You have to remember, online grocery is a war zone right now. You've got giants like Amazon, you've got nimble players like Instacart. Empire's expensive, high-tech warehouse model just wasn't cutting it. So they ripped the Band-Aid off. They closed a super costly warehouse and immediately partnered with DoorDash. It's a way more flexible, lower-cost way to get into online sales. And this is why they did it. This is the whole point of taking that massive write-down. That one move, shutting down the expensive warehouse and switching to a partnership, is expected to boost their annual operating income by about $95 million. And that starts right away. So let's be super clear about this. They took a huge paper loss to unlock tens of millions of dollars in recurring real cash flow. It's the classic business playbook. Take some short-term pain for what you hope is a much, much healthier long-term gain. All right, so with that e-commerce puzzle kind of solved, the company is now pointing us very clearly to where it's placing its bets for future growth. And a huge piece of that growth strategy is their Scene+ loyalty program. Just look at these numbers, you can see why it's so important. They have over 15 million members. And get this, those members spend over 55% more than people who aren't in the program. That's a massive incentive to get more people signed up. So how do you grow the program? You make it more valuable, you give people what they want. And it turns out the number one thing their members were asking for was a way to earn points on gas. So, boom, they ink a partnership with Shell Canada. Suddenly you've got 1,400 new places to earn and burn points. It's a smart move. But hey, it's not a one-trick pony. They're spinning up other growth engines at the same time. Their retail media network, which is basically just selling ad space on their websites and apps to brands, is booming. Revenue's up around 50%. They've got solid plans to expand their discount stores. And they're finally putting a real strategic focus on their pharmacy business. Okay, so a new strategy is great, but you need the right people in place to actually make it happen. And that brings us to the next piece of the puzzle. Empire also just announced a big refresh of its leadership team. The CEO has boiled the entire company's focus down to these 4 simple obsessions. It's a really smart move designed to simplify things and make it crystal clear to every single employee what matters most. No confusion, just focus. And they're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk. They've rebuilt the executive team to line up perfectly with those 4 obsessions. For example, They've now got one person, a chief customer officer, who's in charge of both marketing and merchandising. It's all about increasing speed and making it really clear who's accountable for what. So, when you step back and look at the whole picture, this earnings report isn't really about a huge loss. It's about a huge strategic choice. Empire is betting that a simpler, more focused, more disciplined business is going to be a more profitable one. The question now is, in the cutthroat world of groceries, will this big bet actually pay off?